what is mentioned in the OSHA 1994. So the fine is not more than 50,000 and or jail not exceeding 2 years jail or both. Okay. In part 6, general duties of employees, this is quite important since this is one of the people or that is have obligation on safety and health at workplace is the people who is working with the risk. Okay, so who is working with the risk mostly are the employees, are the workers. Okay, so they have to know what are the general duties of employees at work. Okay, first is to take in section 24, first is to take reasonable care for safety and health of himself and of other persons who may be affected at work, and to cooperate with his employer or any other person in the discharge of any duty or requirement imposed on the employer or that other person with this act or any other regulation made thereafter. And third, to wear or use all times PPE, personal protective equipment, provided by the employer, and to comply with any instruction or measure on occupational safety and health. If they fail to carry out these duties, so they can be fined not more than 1,000 or 3 months jail or both, not exceeding 3 months jail or both. Okay. In section 25 in OSHA 1984, there is also duty not to interfere or misuse things provided pursuant to certain provisions. Okay, so no one should intentionally, recklessly, or negligently interferes with or misuse anything provided or done in the interest of safety, health, and welfare. So there is several terms that actually it is highlighted in the OSHA 1984, which is the intention and mean done on purpose, recklessly, okay, regardless of consequences of danger, negligently, okay, lack of proper care or culpable carelessness. Interfere is the middle intervene, obstruct or be an obstacle, and misuse is to apply to wrong purpose or improper use. For us as a civil civilians, okay, or the layman, we don't care about these terms, but in the proceeding or legal proceeding, okay, in the court, these are the words or terms that will be used. Okay, that will be used. Okay. Wait, I have to check something. Oh, okay, okay. Not connected. Atau bunyinya bukan dekat telinga. Wait lah. Right. These are the words or terms that will be used in the court. Intentionally, recklessly, negligently interferes, misuse. Okay, because the act itself, the wording in the act itself is the legal wording or the lawyer words. Okay, and there is penalty. Okay, for duty not to interfere with misuse things and provide a person to certain provision, fail to do what is in the act, so the person can be fined not more than 20,000, okay, ringgit, or not exceeding 2 years jail or both. Okay, in section 26, duty not to charge employees for things done or provided. So although the employees done something that is against the safety and health policy, but the employer cannot levy or uh, uh, cannot levy the employee, no. So it is mentioned in this portion 19.4, no employer shall levy or permit to be levied on any employee of his any charge in respect with anything done or provided in pursuance of this act or any other regulation made thereafter. So in section 27, discrimination against employee, okay. So no employer shall dismiss an employee by reason only that the employee makes a complaint about a matter which he or she considers is not safe or is a risk to health. Okay. He or she is a member of or exercise any of his functions as a member of safety and health committee. Okay. So employer cannot dismiss or do something to the employee if they make a complaint or they are the member or exercise the safety and health policy or committee or whatsoever. Okay. No trade union shall take any action on any of its member who being an employee at a place of work. Similarly makes a complaint about the matter which he or she consider is not safe or is a risk to the health, or if he or she is a member of a safety or exercise any of his functions as a member of the safety and health committee established pursuant to this act. So this kind of discrimination, okay, against the employee, the person who did this, they can be fined not more than 10,000 or not exceeding 1 year jail or both. In section 28, in part 7, okay, safety and health organizations, OSHA 1994 mentioned about medical surveillance. So minister may order a medical surveillance if cases of illness he has reason to believe may be due to the nature of the process of any other conditions of work, cases of change in process or substance which may cause risk of injury. Persons below age 16 years are about to be employed in work which may cause risk of injury or risk of injury to health from third schedule of new substance as a result of process changes. There is third schedule in this OSHA 1994. You can see it later. Okay, penalty for person contravenes, okay, melakukan pelanggaran ni, this section is fine not exceeding 5,000 ringgit and to imprison for a term not more than 6 months or both. Okay, in section 29, okay, mention about safety and health officer shall be appointed to such class of industries as the minister may publish in the Gazette, shall employ a competent person to act as a safety and health officer, safety and health officer employed for ensuring this act, and any regulation thereafter is followed. The safety and health officer shall possess qualifications or have received any training, okay, as the minister may from time to time prescribe. And penalty for person contravenes this section is fine not exceeding 5,000 and to imprison for a term or not more than 6 months or both. So the person, usually the employer, so because they have to appoint the safety and health officer, if they don't do that, so they can be fined. In section 30, there is establishment of safety and health committee at a place of work. So last time we have come across the section which mentioned about the policy, the form of health safety and health policy, which is you must have at least 5 workers, okay, employees 5 workers. But this one is to establish a safety and health committee, okay, at place of work. So every employer shall establish a safety and health committee at the place of work in accordance with this section if there are 40 or more persons employed at the place of work, okay, or the director general, the DG directs the establishment of such a committee at the place of work. So maybe if there is no, it is less than 40, if the DG directs the establishment of this committee, it shall be done. Okay. Every employer shall consult the Safety and Health Committee to the making and maintenance of arrangement which will enable him or his employees to cooperate in promoting and developing measures to ensure the safety and health at the workplace and in checking the effectiveness of such measures. Okay, penalty for person contravenes with this section is fine not exceeding 5,000 ringgit and to imprison for a term not more than 6 months of both. In section 31, okay, functions of Safety and Health Committee, okay, mention the function of Safety and Health Committee. So the Safety and Health Committee established shall keep under review the measure taken to ensure the safety and health of persons at the place of work. So from time to time, they have to review the measures taken, okay? Shall investigate any matter at the place of work which a member of the committee or a person employed thereat consider is not safe or is a risk to health. So if there are any complaints, so this committee should do the investigation. So which has been also which has been brought to the attention of employer. Okay. So shall attempt the resolve any matter referred to above, and if it is unable to do so, shall request the DG to undertake an inspection of the place of work for the purpose. Okay, shall have such other functions as may be prescribed. So when coronavirus or the COVID-19 occur, so normally the OSH committee, they have to do something. Okay, they have to take measures. Okay, that's why education also they come out with SOP procedures. That procedures should be come from this committee. Okay. In part 8, okay, notification of accidents, dangerous occurrence, occupational poisoning, occupational disease, and inquiry. Okay, is mentioned in this part, which is they have the 32 to 34. Okay, section 32 to 34. So employer to report the nearest OSH officers of accident, dangerous occurrence, occupational poisoning, and diseases. And medical officers to report on scheduled disease in FMA. Okay, in the next part, it is prohibition against the use of plant or substance. So DG may by order publish and the Gazette prohibit the use of any plant or substance which in his opinion is likely to affect the safety and health of person or work. But before making the order, he should consult any government department or any body which appears to be appropriate. Okay, where the DG propose the exercise his power, he shall consult any government department or other body which appears to him to be appropriate. And a person who is aggrieved, okay, who is upset or who is angry, okay, if not satisfied, okay, by this order may within 30 days of the order launch an appeal with the secretary to the council, who shall transmit the appeal to an appeal committee appointed by the minister. Okay, in the part 10, industry codes of practice, okay, they're covered by section 37 and 38. Okay, the minister may approve industry codes of practice comprising such direction as may appear to him to be necessary or proper for the guidance of person in complying the requirement of the provision of this act. Okay, the minister may, from time to time, revise the industry code code of practice by amending, okay, deleting, varying, and adding to the provision, okay, of the industry code of practice. Okay, industry code of practice may consist of any code, standard rules, specification, and provision relating to the OSH approved by the minister, or apply, incorporate, of or refer any document formulated or published by anybody or authority as enforced at the time of industry code of practice is approved or as amended. Okay. The minister shall cause the publish of the Gazette, the approval of industry code of practice, and the amendment of revocation thereof. And also in the section, they mention the use of industry codes of practice in the proceeding in the court. It is alleged that people has contravened or failed to comply with the provision of this act in relation to which an approved industry code of practice was in effect and at the time of the alleged contravention or failure, the approved industry code of practice shall be admissible in the evidence in the proceeding. So you have to show the evidence, okay, based on the industry of code practice. Okay, if the court is satisfied in relation to any matter which is necessary for the prosecution to prove in order to establish the alleged contravention or failure that a provision of approved industry code practice is relevant to matter, and the person fail at any material time to observe the provision or approved industry code of practice. So this, again the legal words. Okay. Okay. In the next part, okay, covered by the section 39 to 50. Okay, the enforcement in investigation, who can do, who have to enforce, and who are qualified to investigate. Okay, is mentioned in this section. Okay, the DG, of course, the OSH officers. Okay, with the certificate of authorization and the power of the OSH officer, they can enter and inspect any place of work. They can enter with the equipment and authorized person. They can take photos, measurements, and samples. Okay, require medical examination if risk of prescribed disease, and question any person if necessary. All persons must assist of this officer with entry, inspection, examination, and inquiry. Okay, this is include the employer and all employees. Contravention, pelanggaran, okay, can lead to the prosecution or issue of either an improvement notice, okay, notice pembaikan, or prohibition notice, notice larangan. Okay, notice to person in control, time to comply given, improvement notice, reason given, contravention explained, must comply with even if appeal within 30 days to Director General, okay, DG. Okay, in the next part is liability for offenses. Okay, there is offense and maximum fee fines, okay, or imprisonment penalties. Okay, you can see there, if fail to carry out the duty of employers, self-employed. Again, we have seen this before. So the actually it's not the max. Oh yes, this is not maximum. So not more than 50,000 ringgit and 2 years jail. Okay, in prison. And you can read other than this, the duty of occupier, the duty of designer. Okay, you can see there is designer, manufacturer also, they mentioned in this OSHA 1994. Okay, duty of employee, of course. Okay, the misuse, okay, by an employee, the discrimination by the employer or union, so I also mentioned here. Okay, the medical surveillance regulations. Okay, duty of occupier to employ show the safety and health officer. So this the occupier, actually the person who employ the safety and health officer is the occupier. Okay, the duty of employer to create or consult the service health CSC. Okay, disclosure of business secret, failure to comply with any other part of the act or any obligation. They have the maximum 10,000 plus 1,000 day after conviction, and the penalty imprisonment is 1 year. What does not cover in this OSHA 1994 is in the detail on machinery, equipments, okay, petroleum, environment, detail on electrical work, detail on construction. Because these matters or these issues are already covered in the FMA, the Factories and Machineries Act, okay, Akta Kilang dan Jentera dan Atakilan Yantra 1967. Okay. Also there is Act the Atta Bekalan Electric. Okay. Electrical Supply Act. Okay. And then also they have the Employee Social Security Acts and the EQA. Okay, the Environmental Quality Acts. Okay. Uh, that's why maybe that's why they don't mention it in detail in the OSHA 1994. Okay, with that we end this part 1.1 OSHA 1994. So I think many of you still don't scan your attendance, so I will display again the attendance. So I will give you another five around 5 to 7 minutes like that for attendance. Okay. If any question, you can ask.
Tuan,
Ya, saya.
saya tak dapat scan.
Betul tak sekali? Siapa?
Nama Amirul bin Abdul Hamid.
Amirul. Okey, Amirul. Siapa lagi ada kes macam Amirul? Kes. Siapa lagi macam Amirul? Bernasib seperti Amirul.
Saya Tuan.
Siapa? Siapa saya tu?
Pak Izno.
Izno. Lagi. Anyone else?
Saya Fauzan dan saya.
Fauzan.
Fauzan.
Fauzan. Fauzan sudah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome. Anybody else? Saya sebut namanya. Nama Aikal ada. Nama Musyairi. Alia Natasha. Chan Po Puan. Izzatullah Khairina. Amirul Naim. Muhammad Amirul Naim. Muhammad Arif. Muhammad Arif Aiman ni pergi ni. Saya letak. Excuse with permission. Korang jangan buat. Okay. Faris. Mak Faris. Muhammad Nazrin An-Nashuha. Mak Syafiq Ikhwan. Nur Akila Iriani. Nur Hafiza. Syamsuddin. Nur Hanisa Muhammad Nasri. Nurul Izzati. So
Tuan, ada Faris, Muhammad Faris.
Muhammad Faris.
Muhammad Faris bin Abdul Rahman Seksyen 4.
Oh,
Tak boleh scan.
Tak boleh scan.
Tak boleh scan.
Okay. Lain-lain. Anyone else? Ama Aikal, Ama Musyairi, Alia Natasha, Chan Puan, Izzatul Khairina, Ama Amirul Naim Hakimi, Manazri Nashwa, Syafiq Ikhwan, Nur Akila Iriani, Nur Akila Iriani, Nur Hafiza, Nur Hanisa, Nur Izzati. So ada 12 orang. So kita akan kita apa? Saya akan tanya lagi kemudian. So we shall continue. Ada orang chat ni apa ni? Saya ada tuan Alia. Okay Alia. Sorry. Okay. So saya akan tanya lagi nanti next. So we have to continue our slides.
Tuan,
Ya saya.
yang tadi kan attendance Hanisa tu dia ada muat.
Oh muat mana?
Hanisa.
Hanisa seorang je ke?
Kira lagi kat Tuan.
Siapa lagi? Ya.
Tuan.
Ya. Ada.
Nama dia Chan.
Kat Tuan.
Ada.
Ada Chan. Ya. Nanti minta siapa ni? Bagi evidence Hanisa muat tu I need the evidence. Have to record.
Tuan.
Dia saya.
Akilah dengan Hafizah pun ada muat.
Oh, Hafiza, Akilah, Hafiza. Okay, Akilah, Hafiza. Minta ada orang bagi surat ke apa. Syafi, Nazri, Amirul Naim, Muat ke? Zatu Khairina, Musyari Haikal. Apa saya akan tanya lagi lah nanti. So ada 4 excuse, 7 absence. However, we have to continue sebab the content untuk chapter 1 quite panjang, banyak. So I have to finish. Alright. Okay, we continue with the FMA 1967. The FMA is stand for Factories and Manufacturing Act. Okay, 1997. It seems that this act is already created before the OSHA 1997, but maybe the scope is not wide, so we still need OSHA 1994. Okay, atau kilang dan jentera, okay, dan regulations dia lah dan peraturan dia. So this is Act 139. Okay, the objective of this act is to control the factory's operation with respect to safety, health, and welfare of workers. Again, we meet with these three terminologies. Okay, safety, health, and welfare. And secondly, to enforce the registration and inspection of machinery. Okay. So OSHA 1994 supersedes FMA 1967 in the event of any conflicts. Just I mentioned yesterday, if there are any conflicts, okay, if there is a similar issues or similar statement, so there will be conflicts. Okay, so we should refer the latest one, which is the OSHA 1994. Okay, so OSHA 1994 will supersede the FME 1967. Okay, so the FME 1967 applies to mainly factories and construction sites. Therefore, the scope is not wide. So we need OSHA 1994. The FME and OSHA Enabling Act give power to the minister to gazette detailed regulations. So if you remember, regulations is approved by the minister. So that's why the gazette by the minister. So that's I mentioned here, give power to the minister to gazette the detailed regulations, and contains some general provisions of safety, health, and welfare. The scope of this act limited to the manufacturing industry, okay, mining, quarrying, and construction. Okay, the acts do not contain detailed provisions on specific matters. Detailed provisions are stipulated under the regulations. So regulations provide the details of this act. So the regulation may be amended from time to time, may be added from time to time. Okay, so we need to see the latest act. Okay, so if you try to search this act, FMA Act or OSHA or whatsoever act, we might find the not the latest one. Okay, not the up-to-date act. Okay, because the up-to-date act, they must have the latest regulations and which was amended or added. Okay, so in FMA 1967, they have 6 parts. Okay, compared to the OSHA 1994, they have 15 parts. Okay, they will have only 6 parts in this FMA 67, because most of the details is in the regulations. Okay, details is in regulation, but the existing part is only 6 parts. Okay, the first part is the preliminary, the second part is the safety, health, and welfare. Okay, part 3 is persons in charge and certificates of competency. Part 4 is notifications of accidents, dangerous occurrence, and dangerous diseases. And part 5 is notice of occupation of factory and registration and use of machinery. And part 6 is general things. Okay. So in this, in the part 1, the preliminary, we gave the definition of factory. What is factory? Apa itu kilang? Okay. The first is there must be premises involved. Okay, misalnya ada premise. Okay, the boundaries of which can be defined. Okay, within those premises, there is manual labor going on in connection with one of the processes specified. The process must involve the making, altering, repairing, ornamenting, ornamenting. Okay, I'm not sure that word. Okay, finishing, cleaning, washing, breaking up, demolition, and dating for sale any article, and the processes must be carried out by trade or for gain. Okay, other definition in part 1, building operation, hoisting machine, machinery, steam boiler. A key in part 2, safety and welfare. The key points in this part is the premises must be structurally sound with safe access to work areas, materials, and goods must be safely stacked. Okay, this was mentioned in section 10. Okay, in this part. Okay. In the section 14 to 16, I just read the what was in the slide. Okay, because there is also section 11, 12, and 13, but maybe it is not no need to be highlighted in this because this is the key points. So the machinery must be of sound construction and dangerous parts must be fenced. Okay, fenced. Okay, this is mentioned in section 14, 15, and 16. The employees must not misuse safety and health equipment. This is mentioned in section 20. Employees are not allowed to act in a way that could endanger the safety of himself or other person. Premises must be kept in clean with adequate workspace, ventilation, lighting, and toilets. Okay, this was mentioned in section 22. Persons must be supplied with adequate facilities for clothing, storage, drinking, water, first aid, and washing facilities. It's mentioned in section 25. And employees must be trained on the safety of machinery. This was mentioned in section 26. This is what the picture it should be in what was mentioned in section 10. This example, okay, how it should be in the factories, okay. Also the goods should be safely stacked and not easy to tumble or fall. And the path, the people path, the workers path, okay, does not block, okay. And good ventilation, okay. They must have good ventilation and allowing the entry of light. And also they have to provide the fire fire extinguisher or whatsoever, okay, in the factories. So this not written here, okay. In section 15, we can see already mentioned the fan. You have to fence the machinery, the danger machinery. So this is example of properly fenced machineries. So in section 22, they've mentioned about the clean, adequate workspace, ventilation, lighting, and also toilets. Okay, toilet also mentioned actually in the section 22. And section 25, this is more to the welfare. Okay, the workers should have lockers or whatever, the waters. Okay, and also the first aid. Okay, so machines are safe when safety rules are followed. In part 3, okay, in part 3, person in charge and certificates of competency, the key point in part 3 is machinery operators must be adequately trained or under the supervision of trained person. It's mentioned in section 26. And young persons below 16 years must not operate machineries. Okay, section 28. Okay. In the part 4, notification of accident, dangerous occurrence, and dangerous diseases, the occupier must notify the nearest inspector of accidents and disease. So accidents include first the loss of life, okay. Second, the injury to a person who loses more than 4 days work, okay, lost time injury. So serious damage to machinery or other property. Here it is mentioned in section 31. Inspectors may investigate accidents and dangerous occurrence and hold inquiries into more serious cases. Right? This one is this is the on point. Okay. Next, okay, part 5, notice of occupation of factory and the registration and use of machinery. Okay, notify Department of OSH, Department of OSH, okay, DOSH within 3 months of the intended state date. So the use of any machineries, okay, this information in section 34. Building operation must be notified if lasts more than 6 weeks. Okay, this is mentioned in section 35. The changes to the use of factory machinery must be notified to the DOSH. Okay, fills a standard form together with a layout plan of factory, list of products to be manufactured, list of machines to be used, a list of chemicals, toxic or flammable substances to be used, and detailed flow chart of the processes. Okay. Part 6, general. Okay, the general penalty is not more than 2,000 ringgit, and certain sections not more than 5,000 ringgit. It's mentioned in section 51. So there are 3 schedule in this FMA. So the first schedule is defines dangerous occurrence to machinery that need to be notified. The second schedule is about describes the type of injury that may classify as serious bodily injury. And the third schedule is least notifiable industrial diseases. Okay, these 15 regulations, I'm not sure whether they have latest regulation on this act, but in this slide, it was mentioned the 15 regulations, okay, from 1970, in the year 1970 until 1986, 89, sorry. So I'm not sure whether they have new regulations, okay. So the act is there, but they do the amendment or the addition on the regulations, rules and regulations. Okay. So the first regulation among the 1970 regulation, they have the certificates of competency examinations regulation, electric passenger and good lift regulation. They have fencing of machinery and safety regulations. They have notification of fitness and inspections regulations, the persons in charge regulations, the safety, health, and welfare regulations, the steam boiler and unfired pressure vessels regulations, and the administration regulation. Then later on, 1978, they have actually they have the same rules or regulation which is compounded the offenses, rules and regulation. Okay, and in 1984 they have the lead. Okay, lead is apa nama? Lead regulation. Okay, Syariah dia punya lead regulations. Okay, lead unleaded lead regulations 1984, and then there's our special process regulation in 1986. And this is related to our field, civil engineering, building operation, and works of engineering, construction, okay, safety regulations, or the abbreviation, the short, we can call it BOAX, okay, BOAX regulation 1886. So we will discuss it in detail in one slide. Okay, next slides. Okay, next PowerPoint about BOAX. Okay, because this is related to us, civil engineering, so we'll go in detail for this. Okay, BOAX. Okay, and then they also have regulation of noise exposure. Okay, 1989, and Mineral Dust Regulation in 1986, 89 as well. Okay, I'm not sure whether we will go one by one over this. Okay, we go faster. Okay. Factories and machinery certificates of community examination regulation 1980 70. Okay, this is to set up the framework for the certificate of competency required under factories and machinery person in charge regulation, lay down prerequisite for the application for a certificate of competency and the examination procedure. Okay, all certificates of competency have requirements for experience and examination pass before they can be granted. Certificates of competency can be suspended or cancelled if the holder is medically unfit or in case of serious misconduct, and if judged unfit after the inquiry of a court. Normally, we, in order to get any certificate of competency, we have to pass the examinations. Okay, they have examination, they have training, and then at the end of the training there will be an examination or test, so you have to pass that one so you can get the certificates of competency. Okay, this is electric passenger and good lift regulation. All new lifting machine, cranes, cab winch, and lifting appliances, pulley and change block have a manufacturer's certificate. Okay, specifying safe working load. Okay, with design drawing and load calculation. Okay, apply to lift that are used to carry person, including good lift. Okay, juga termasuk lift. Okay, owner to provide detailed design to obtain approval from DOSH. Okay, that's mentioned in Regulation 6. Capacity of a lift is based on lift car floor area and the displayed clearly on each lift car. Regulation 7. Okay, specifications for following components of lift system: machine room, lift well, landing doors, lift car, and suspension system. This was mentioned in Regulation 9 through 29. Okay. Duties of lift owner to maintain lift. Okay, 3 monthly inspection and monthly service by competent person. Enter details of all inspection and maintenance activities in register for each lift. Okay, it was mentioned in Regulation 31. Owner must display certificate of registration in lift car or at the bottom of the landing. This is mentioned in Regulation 32. Then we have the notification of fitness and inspections regulation 1970. The details of notification, certificate of fitness and inspections carried out by DOSH. In part 1, specify the forms that must be used to notify the DOSH officer. And part 2, describe the certificate of fitness that must be held for steam boilers, UPV and hoisting machines. And certificate of fitness is valid 15 months from the date of inspection. And part 3 governs the inspection of factory or machinery by DOSH. Factory and machinery inspected at regular interval, 15 months, but up to 36 months at the discretion of DOSH Regulation 14. DOSH give advance notice of the inspection to the occupier. Occupier prepare machinery for the inspection. So DOSH is a third party. It's not the they are not related to the factories. DOSH is Department of Occupational Safety and Health. They are government from government bodies. Okay, they come to check the safety and health of any factories or any sectors. Okay, or industries. Okay, occupier prepare machinery for the inspection. Factory or machinery not complying with regulation may result in DOSH issuing a direction to improve the situation. A stop work notice may be issued for machinery without a current certificate of fitness. In part 4, they mentioned the inspection fees charged by DOSH. Okay, fencing and machinery safety regulation. Okay, safeguarding of machinery. All dangerous part of machine, including the power source and transmission, must be guarded. Okay, describe methods for guarding various parts of machine. Okay. In part 2 mention the prime mover. Okay. Part 3 is transmission machinery and part 4 driven machinery. Okay, part 4 specify the methods for guarding different type of machinery. Okay, for example, the abrasive and grinding machinery, the machinery using rolls, saws, planers, spindle molders, curving and turning machine, chain mortise machine, mixers, centrifuges, presses, uh, guillotines, conveyors. All of these, they have specific method to guard or fence them. Okay, other machines must also be securely fenced. Other form of guarding, switches and interlock. Okay, workers trained in the operation of certain dangerous machines and aware of the danger of such machine. So workers must be trained. Okay, if using the danger risky machines, okay, then they must aware of the danger. Okay, 6 schedule give further specification on the materials and dimensions of machine guards. In the person in charge regulation, okay, they specify the person in charge of certain machinery required certificate of competency. Okay. So in order to be the person in charge of any machineries, they need the certificate of competency. Okay. This is including the steam boiler, the steam engine, the internal combustion engine, and the dredge. Okay. Steam boiler include UPV with steam connected to it. Steam boiler and steam engine require steam boiler driver certificate of competency for smaller boilers, less than 2,000 square feet heating surface. And larger boiler need an engineer certificate of competency for steam boiler and steam engine. So mentioned in regulation 5. And the IC engines, less than 100 horsepower may need a holder of IC engine certificate, driver certificates. Okay, requirement for provide instruction and training to operators of certain machinery. Each operator must have a course of instruction and 10 days of supervision by an experienced operator. This was mentioned in regulation 20. Okay, schedule 1 lists the machineries that require a trained operator. For example, presser, saws, metal working machine, hoisting machine. In the safety, health, and welfare regulation, okay, deal with factory premises, various safety, health, and welfare requirement. The key point in this regulation is safe means of access and safe place of employment, provision of age protection on floor openings and stairs. All stairways and floors must be must be of good construction and properly maintained. Ladders must be of adequate construction and maintained in sound condition. Persons must be protected from falls of more than 10 feet, okay, by the use of safety belts and rope. So if you work more than 10 feet, okay, 10 feet is around 3 meters. Is one floor, okay, satu tingkat punya ketinggian. Okay, if you work more than 10 feet, you need to use the safety belts, okay, and ropes. Adequate protection are necessary before working inside the confined space. Just mentioned regulation 13. Flammable and dangerous liquids must be securely stored and precautions taken against fire and explosion. Just mentioned regulation 14 to 17, 21 and 22. It's already 4 p.m. But I said we will continue our class, maybe 15 minutes, okay? Another 50 minutes, okay? Materials and finished goods must be securely stored and precaution taken against fire and explosion. This is mentioned in regulation 19 and 20. Specifications are laid down for cleaning and surfaces inside factory. Lighting, ventilation, and climate requirements are all detailed. Okay, working clothes and protective equipment, PPE, okay, was mentioned in regulation 32. And welfare facilities such as toilets, okay, drinking water, washing facilities, and first aids. It was mentioned in regulation 33 through 38. Sorry. For schedule of regulation, the first schedule specifies classes of factories that do not need internal spaces whitewashed every 12 months. And second schedule is describe the level of lighting required in different parts of the factory. Third schedule lists work activities that need eye protection or protective screens. Fourth schedule is contents of first aid box. Okay, if you have this FMB, I have the soft copy, but it's not the latest one. I can share you. I will share in the Telegram. The factories and machinery, steam boiler and unfired pressure vessels regulation 1970. They have part one, okay, general condition, part two, steam boilers, okay, part three, unfired pressure vessel, part four, miscellaneous provisions, okay. So you can read this one because steam boiler is not our field, okay. Describe condition for obtaining permission from Dodge before steam boiler and unfired pressure vessels is manufactured and imported. Dodge may accept the design and operation details of the item and issue and authorize safe working pressure. Steam boilers and UPV, okay, must comply to codes listed schedule. Okay, in the part two, detail of safety fitting required on the steam boiler, burners, system of steam boilers. Okay, unfired pressure vessel, air receiver, steam receiver, and other UPV, essential safety fittings and further specifications. These actually mentioned in these regulations. Okay, in the administration regulations, okay, set up the administration by Dutch officer of FMA regulation. These the fees of charge for an officer services. Describe the record that must be kept by OSH personnel. DOSH must provide a report on the administration of the act and the regulation to the minister every year. Okay. This is the compounding of offences, rules, and the regulations. Okay. 1978. Okay, some on offenses can be compounded. Okay, compounded. Compounding is an agreement to receive money from an offender instead of prosecuting him. Okay, describes offenses that can be compounded, and rules give procedures to be followed by DOSH for compounding an offense. Okay. This is BOEX. Okay, BOEX will we go details afterward. So actually BOEX cover instruction safety, apply to building operation defined as the construction, structural alteration, repair and maintenance of a building, including repainting, redecoration, and external cleaning of the structure, the demolition of a building, and the preparation for and the laying of the foundation of an intended building. And work of engineering construction mean the construction of any railway line or siding, and the construction, structural alteration or repair, including repointing, repainting, or the demolition of any dock, harbor, inland navigation, tunnel, bridge, viaduct, waterworks, and gas holder. Okay, regulation applies in addition to any other relevant FME regulation requirement, for example, certificate of fitness for hoisting machine, a guarding of dangerous part of machinery. In part two, describe the general precaution that should be taken, the use of PPE, okay, electrical safety, lighting, access to workplace, storage of materials, and disposal of debris, okay. Precaution to be taken in the erection and dismantling the formwork for concrete works, okay. And in part four, safety requirements involved in the erection of structural steel and precast concrete structures. Temporary flooring needs to follow up by the construction of steel frame building. Working a steep roof, crawling board or roofing bracket must be installed on roof with a slope greater than 1:4. And part five is about catch platform erected along the interior faces for demolition originally more than 12.2 meters in height. Okay, protect public against falling objects. Okay, other than that, we have part seven. Part seven is about the Q's, the Q, how to pronounce this? Duties for rubbish removal, totally enclosed in the angle exceed 45 degrees from horizontal. Okay, design and construction of chutes. Okay, use of inspection of safety belt and safety net. Okay, part A is about runway and ramps for the use of vehicle, workers, and wheelbarrows. Okay, part 9 is about ladder and step ladders, securely fixed so that they cannot slip. Ladder access is necessary for all work exceeding 1.5 meters in height. So any work is 1.5 meters in height need ladder. Okay. In part 4, okay, they have mentioned about the scaffolding, okay, and their components must be well structured. Okay, sufficient materials available to construct the scaffold material properly stored, and when not in use, kept away from the defective material. Every scaffold properly maintained. Okay, scaffold securely placed or fixed in the position, stability of scaffold. Okay, the provision of braces, ties, and the structural integrity of the building supporting the scaffold. A requirement concerning the construction stability and firm-based requirement for mobile towers. Okay, scaffold inspect weekly and after exposure, severe weather condition, inspection result and entered into register kept on site. So we have to keep the record, okay, record the inspection result. Okay, guard rails are required on a scaffold if person may fall more than 3 meters. Okay, another guardrail. So part 11 is required precaution for demolition work. Okay, the main provision: no part of building or structure can be allowed to become dangerously overloaded with debris. The following work must be done under close supervision and a competent person with adequate experience of work. Okay. Part 12, safety in excavation work. Excavation short up or cut back to prevent collapse. Okay, guardrails must be installed if excavation exceeds 3 meters in depth. Excavation provided with safe access if more than 1.2 meters deep. In part 13, so BOEX is quite long, just the quite details. Okay, BOEX regulation. Part 13, we have storage and disposal of materials, safe method, stacking bricks, masonry blocks and bags. Okay, part 14, we have mentioned about the safety in the piling work. Part 15 is explosive. Okay, must not be handled and used except by the under immediate control of a competent person. When explosives are fired, okay, this I think they use the explosive in quarry. Quarry, they use the explosive. Then part 16 is about the hand and power tools must be maintained in a safe condition. And the safety organization on site, okay, main contractor should appoint a part-time safety supervisor. So now we come across the term of safety supervisor, site safety supervisor, okay, SSS, okay, SSS, site safety supervisor. And normally a diploma graduate will become the site safety supervisor, but the degree graduate will become the safety and health officer, SSO. Okay, spend at least 15 hours per week on safety supervision. Contractor with more than 20 persons on the site, appoint contractor safety supervisor. Okay, kena appoint contractor safety supervisor. Spend at least 5 hours per week on safety supervision. Safety supervisor should be competent person with at least 2 years experience as a site foreman. When 50 or more persons are employed on construction site, the main contractor should establish a safety committee. Okay, so you can see here in the FMA, they mentioned the how many people it should be. Okay, in order to establish a safety committee. Okay, they mentioned there is a 50 or more person, but in the OSHA 1994 they mentioned 40 and more. So this is one example of a conflicting statement, okay, regulations, okay, between the OSHA and the FMA. So we should adhere or follow the OSHA, okay. So when there is 40 or more persons employed, okay, you should form or establish a safety committee. So committee consists of senior member of the main contractor staff, all appointed safety supervisors, and any appointed site workers. Okay, FMA 1967 contains the regulation at preventing exposure and minimizing the health effect of certain hazards. Specific regulation exists for lead, mineral dust, asbestos, and noise. This was mentioned actually in the this lead regulation. Okay. In the lead regulation, they have specified a range of duties and control, health surveillance, blood test, and administrative control. The key features in this regulation is the permissible exposure limit, okay, of 152 micrograms, okay, of air average over an 8-hour period. Protection factor may be taken into account when respiratory protection is worn. Employers are required to carry out atmospheric monitoring. Personal samples should be taken from the employees exposed to the lead. Okay. There's more on this. Okay. Specific detail on monitoring program. Okay. Frequency of monitoring at least every 6 months of exposures below PEL and above action level, every 3 months for exposure above PEL. Okay. Employees must be notified of result. Okay, specified engineering control and work practices to be used in the control exposure to below PEL. Specify respiratory protection based on the airborne concentration of lead. Okay, employers provide other forms for protective equipment. Okay, and ensure employees use them. Employee is to arrange for their cleaning and storage, provide change room and shower facilities. Okay, because they play with the lead, okay, exposed to the lead. Okay, provide medical surveillance program for all employees exposed above the action level of for more than 30 days per year. Frequency of biological monitoring is specified as well as the frequency of medical examination. Temporarily remove an employee from exposure above the action level where blood levels are above 80 microgram. Okay. For males. Okay. Over 100 gram for males and 40 microgram over 100 gram for females of childbearing capacity. Employee training, procedure for record keeping, and there is also mentioned. They also mentioned penalty in this lead regulation, which is not more than 2,000 ringgit. Okay. Asbestos. Okay, you can read this. This is also kind of and noise exposure. Okay, this may quite relate to us. Okay, permissible exposure of level equivalent continuous sound levels 90 decibel. Okay, a type of sound. So if you learn about sound, I'm not sure whether you learn about sound, maybe in the environmental engineering. Okay, so equivalent continuous sound level 90 dB decibel. Noise dose of unity not exceedingly limit in schedule. Maximum noise level is 115 decibel. Impulsive noise not exceed 140 decibel. Method of compliance by engineering or administrative control. PP is used if these are not practicable. Initial and ongoing monitoring for employees exposed to above PEL. Okay. Hearing protection for employees exposed to the action level. Okay. Hearing protection must attenuate noise level below the PEL and limit for impulsive noise. Automatic test program every year. If exposure is above PEL, there is a threshold shift. Train employees in aspect of regulation of effects of PPE and audiometric testing. Okay, mineral dust regulation. Okay, employees provide mineral dust and people who work in quarry. Usually people who work in quarry. Employees provide and employees required to use protective clothing. Okay, respiratory equipment and other protective equipment. Report any defects in the equipment. Sandblasting is prohibited unless written approval from DOSH is obtained. PL for mineral dust is less than 1% silica. Okay. And PL of 0.1 quartz and 0.5 for cristobalite and tridimite. So these terms are used in the mineral. People in the mineral and material and mineral engineering, they know about this. Okay. carry out atmospheric monitoring. Okay. Control equipment to remove dust. Okay. Inspect and maintain equipment. Employer required to provide PPE. Okay. A medical examination for employees. Exposable action level. Medical record to be kept 20 years. Provide training for employees on the regulations, nature of the operation, control equipment, and medical examination. Oh, that's all. That's all. Wait up. So the last regulations is, yeah, the mineral dust regulations. See, okay, I think we will stop over here. Because this is the second part. We have one slide, okay, about also on FMA, okay, but we will focus on the BOWAX, okay, because BOWAX is more related. It is what we call related. Yeah, related. Apa perkataan lain ni? Yeah, it's related to us. Okay, civil engineering. So we will end our class here. So wait. So I stop share this one. So let me check for the last time. Ahmad Aikal. Ada tak? Ahmad Musyairi. Izzatul Khairina. Kalau dia orang ni pergi muat, ha?
Saya
Ada?
tu. Ada.
Okay. Muhammad Amirul Naim. Amirul Naim. Nanti dia mention nak bukan ni. Amirul lain ni. Nazrin Syafiq Ikhwan. Kalau dia orang ni pergi muat, bagi tahu saya. Oh, bagi tahu dia orang kalau dia orang ni pergi muat dan korang pun tak tahu. Dia orang they should inform me. Ya, saya.
Musyairi, Haikal,
Okay.
Amirul dengan Syafiq Ikhwan diorang pergi muat.
Okay. Saya not sebagai excuse for information tapi minta dia orang bagi saya evidence Amirul. Evidence that they are going for muat. Okay. So ada dua orang lagi considered. Nazrin Nashuha. Siapa tahu? Nurul Izzati. Nurul Izzati ada.
Ada.
Okay. Nazrin Nashuha. Anybody? Siapa-siapa kenal dia? Ke mana dia? Tak tahu.
Saya Fauzan je. Saya Fauzan.
Saya Fauzan. Fauzan. Kemanakah Nazrin?
Nazrin, saya tak tahu. Kali ni saya bilik asing dengan
Oh ya.
Nazrin muat.
saya balik kampung balik.
Okey, muat betul
Saya balik kampung balik.
So geng-geng muat ni bagi tu dia orang saya nak evidence dia orang ni pergi muat lah. Okey, bersurat ke apa ya? So 9 excuse. Okay. 8 muat, 1 pergi. Okay. So 96 attend. Okay, terima kasih korang. Terima kasih. Kita 4:20 kita stop right now. So okay.
Terima kasih Zah.
Sama.
Thank you, sir.
Tuan.
Sama.
Terima kasih,
Terima kasih, Tuan.